Good afternoon, Astrolites one and all. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon today. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about coffee dates and why they're a bad idea. Well, firstly, coffee dates are more for high school seniors or your basic sitcom. If you actually go out on a coffee date and let's say you're over your 20s, for example, you're not going to get too far with companionship. So when a woman decides to go with you on a coffee date, that's basically to brush you off, friend zone you, things of that nature. And as a guy, you should not have to put yourself through that, because you're just going to think nothing of it, right? And it's more of a deal than what people lead on to be. So this is my advice from me to you, fellow gentlemen who plan to ask a woman out on a coffee date. Do not do it because you're just setting yourself up for failure, basically. And like I said, you don't want to put yourself through that. And you don't want to waste the woman's time because a woman's ideal date is dinner and a movie, most likely when the sun's down, somewhere along those lines. That they want to be nourished and flourished, if you will. Uh, they want to feel good, not only from themselves, but from you as well. They want you to treat them like gold, but at the same time, they don't expect you to have gold, if that makes sense. They don't want you to, well, traditional woman, I should say. They don't, they just want to spend time with you. And when you're sitting in a movie, that gives you a lot of time. Well, okay, well, maybe not a lot of time, an hour and a half to 2 hours, so on and so forth, depending on what movie you guys go see. But anyway, that gives you a chance to pretty much think about discussing your likes and your dislikes. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, 10 years, etc., and things like that. When you go on a coffee date, it, you're just asking to get brushed off. So if a woman decides to go on a coffee date with you, that's the reason they're doing it for. They don't necessarily want to be pampered, but at the same time, it, they don't want to feel like their time is worth $5 or $6 of hot grounds in a cup. So if it's the first date, definitely go out to dinner and a movie. That way, you have enough time to get to know each other, um, decide on a movie you want to watch, where you want to eat at, and which brings me to my next point. Um, if you bring a woman out to eat, I'm not saying go dollar for dollar on a restaurant, but also don't go to the place where there's a clown involved. Anything that has a kids meal or anything like that, to take them into a more grown-up place, like Chili's or Applebee's, even In-N-Out. But make sure that it's considerate, not just for the both of you, for her mostly, because then she's gonna be like, oh, he treated me well. We went out to Applebee's. We ordered the 2 for $20. We had so much fun. We went to go see that new Ryan Gosling movie, and she'll have some good news to tell her girlfriends about, and that in the near future she's gonna be like, oh, I really want to see this guy again. He treated me so well on the first date. I kind of want to see what he does on the second date. And not that you have to, like I said, do dollar for dollar, but you also don't want to do the same thing. You know, you want to do some new and exciting things. You want to keep the fresh relationship fresh. You want to, you see where I'm going with this? So if you take her out for a coffee date and she agrees to it, you're just asking to get brushed off. Because in the back of her mind, she's going to be like, oh, so I'm just worth a hot cup of ground stealing? Okay, I'll go on the date with them. Don't. Uh, that's why I say do not invite a lady, and I mean that. Invite a lady to a coffee date. Take her on a proper date. Take Show her a night on the town, and a night on the town does not necessarily have to be expensive. It just has to be good enough to be like, oh, okay, she enjoyed herself, and I feel good that I was able to help her enjoy herself. You know, I gave her compliments. I told her how good she looks, and I took her to see one of her favorite movies that just came out. Things like that. And I, you don't have to necessarily worry about stacks on stacks on stacks, because if you're going with a woman and she's just gonna be one of those types who are like, oh, I hope he treats me like royalty. I expect to go somewhere special. And special, like, you know, more than what you're willing to spend. Like, let's say over $200, $100 or $200 over that. That just means that she wants to be spoiled. There's nothing wrong with being spoiled every now and again, but there's spoiled and straight up gold digger. So if she's only going out with you because you make a certain amount, then you should leave well enough alone. That's not the kind of woman you want to be with. But anyway, the women I'm talking about, they just want to know about your personality, how you or what you do for a job, how you like your job, and you know, things like that. They want to get to know you, not what's in your wallet. Which is why they're just like, oh, let's go to dinner and a movie. We don't have to do anything like super fancy. We don't have to go to Seasons 52 on the first date. We don't have to go to Disneyland or things like that. You know, just casual, but not too casual. Okay? Trust me, fellas. Your woman is going to appreciate this. Or not necessarily your woman, but the woman you intend to take out. She's definitely going to appreciate this, and she's going to be like, you know what? He was so sweet. He treated me like royalty. He held the door open for me. He took me to my favorite movie, so on and so forth. She is definitely going to want to see you again, just based on what she was telling her girlfriends after the date was over. And the girlfriends are going to be like, oh, girl, you need to go see him again, because he sounds like an absolute keeper. You should definitely go on a second date with him. So, fellas, take my advice. I've been with my woman for 5 years. She didn't expect anything from me. We met at a pizza parlor. And all she asked from me was a couple slices and a cup of lemonade. And that was it. You know, we shot the breeze for a bit. And I treated her the way she wanted to be treated. And she was like, well, It was either myself or her, but we wanted to see each other again. And I've been taking her dinners and movies ever since. And only when I had the money to, yeah, I would take her to places like Seasons 52, or I would get her the nicest dresses, things like that. It all depends on your financial situation. But a woman is not going to go out with you. A proper woman will not go out with you just because of how much money you make. It just depends on the kind of date you go on, how you treat her, where you go, etc. You take my advice, I guarantee you're going to have a catch in your life. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys. I want to thank you all for watching, especially my lady who's watching this right now. And I pretty much said my piece. I love you all. I'll catch you in the next content. Bye bye.